Well, ladies and gentlemen, if it isn't old Bernie Sanders coming out and supporting the MAGA right, who have had a little bit of a tussle with Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy over these H-1B visas, we've got Bernie Sanders coming out and saying Elon Musk is wrong. The main function of the H-1B visa program is to not hire the best and the brightest. Bernie's 100% right here when he says that. The Musk is assigning the wrong definition to the H-1B program. Musk is really talking about the O-1, trying to manipulate people, say it's the H-1B, but no, the H-1B, that's when they do the kind of the grunt hiring and they hire people to take jobs away from Americans, and it's not really crazy like, oh, we're going to deny Albert Einstein, the Indian version of Albert Einstein, the right to enter the United States. That's not what this program is. That's what Musk was saying. He was manipulating people by saying that. So Bernie Sanders, and in just a bigger point, there is crossover between the MAGA right opinion on this topic and the worker right left, although it's for different reasons. The MAGA right, we're just not happy with immigration in general. And honestly, you look at Sanders' history, I was seeing some different things he was saying. He's been against importing immigrants because he thinks they take American jobs and they really do drive down wages, and it's 100% true. And a lot of billionaires, a lot of rich people, a lot of employers do like when the immigrants come in because it is cheaper labor. It is just another form of capitalism. You want to find the cheapest, and people that come in, they're already at a disadvantage, so it's easier to hire them for less than an American citizen that's in the country that you would think would have more leverage than somebody just coming in trying to get a job and get settled in the United States, maybe on a temporary visa, maybe trying to work to their green card. This comes down to leverage, and the employers want to have the most amount of leverage possible over the employee, and they're able to really use the H-1B system as a way to kind of control the employees and have significant leverage over them. And that's kind of where you get this weird dynamic to where people come over from India or wherever, but this H-1B system, you look at, it's about 75% from India, and that's mainly because most of the people that are eligible for this are from India, and India has a massive population. And I mean, we can talk about multiple different things, but there have been studies that have shown that on average, American citizens do have better education than Indians. There's just a bunch of Indians based off of their birth rate. If you take a look at, there was a graph I saw, or like a map, where will the next 1,000 babies be born? And it's like, a crazy amount in India, a bunch. I mean, there's so many in the East. You want to talk about the West struggling with birth rate? My goodness, it's going to be a big problem in 30 or 40 years, not in 5 years, not in 10 years, but it ends up being a problem. And there was a Reddit post that I also want to go over talking about how Canada, I mean, these are liberal people saying, what happened to our country? What did we do with the amount of Indians that were let in? And it's this whole idea, oh, we want to be inclusive, we want to be nice and allow people the opportunity, but you end up just destroying your own country by doing it. It's in the purest sense, the biggest naive lie is, oh, we have to let these people in because they deserve a chance, when in reality you're just diluting your own country and you're hurting your own natural born citizens. And you know what? I can respect what Bernie Sanders is saying. And by the way, I saw another thing with Bernie Sanders, and I'm not trying to simp for Bernie, but I did see another thing where he's like, why would we have open borders? I mean, we are a nation. The whole idea is we protect our own citizens. It's just absurd. And that is a liberal talking about. He tried swinging it, saying it was Republicans that wanted open borders. Now, Bernie, that's gaslighting. That's not true. We both know that. But I totally agree, obviously. I mean, these are very obvious things, but with liberals, you have to, whenever one of them actually agrees, it's good to see. And you can see, what is this thing? Oh, that's the AI system. I think they added that. I didn't even see that notice they added that. But Sanders goes on to say, they're not hiring the best and the brightest through the H-1B system. That's the O-1, he's right. But rather to replace good-paying American jobs with low-wage indentured servants from abroad. The cheaper the labor they hire, the more money the billionaires make. And so, there's that overlap from the right and the left, the worker left, and also the MAGA base who doesn't want immigrants taking American jobs. It's this, idea of America first when it comes to the workers. And so there is that overlap. Now, it is funny because outside of Bernie Sanders, I mean, listen, I don't really pay attention to a lot of these people on the left. You kind of hear some things just, scrolling through X and stuff. But the things that I saw when it came to the TV people and the influencers, they seemed to back Ramaswamy and Musk, which is pretty crazy when you think about the idea of them being pro-worker and stuff like that. And you would think they would seize the opportunity like Sanders is here when you've got Ramaswamy calling out Americans, when you've got Musk saying, yes, we need the labor from abroad, and then totally lying about the actual system itself, gaslighting everyone, and then getting caught for it, and then saying, oh, now it needs reform. By the way, that's another thing. Ramaswamy, to be fair, did say before the election that this system needed to be reformed, although he wanted it to where it wasn't a lottery system. He didn't necessarily say, well, it's being abused, because now that's their argument. And that's their argument because it's very obvious the system is being abused. But originally, Musk and Ramaswamy were not talking about the system being abused. They just wanted the lottery eliminated so they could bring in the top talent, which, again, if you're talking about the cream of the crop talent, the 0.01%, this is not the function of the H-1B system. Now, I'm sure there are very smart people that can come over on H-1B visas, absolutely. But to me, it just shows you how ridiculous. Like, I saw MSNBC, I saw liberals on CNN saying that they agreed with Musk and Ramaswamy. Like, you would think this would be the one thing, the American worker, where they're the populist left, they're the party of the worker, and they don't even agree. And they might say, well, it's not taking many American jobs, but it does water down the job market, and it drives competition up for Americans, and it drives wages down. And that's what Sanders is saying. So I think Sanders here is obviously 100% right. This has been a lot of people. Now, listen, we can talk about the different reasons. Again, for the right wingers, for us, it's more so the immigration. And for someone like Sanders, it is more so the socialist aspect of this, which is billionaires bringing these people in because they don't want to pay them as much money to work, which will enrich them even further. And we can talk about socialism, and socialism is basically a baby form of communism. That's not to say there aren't socialist elements in the U.S. government and within the U.S. economy, because there are, but you're talking about a very slippery slope. And I think the biggest disagreement will come down to taxation, and that's based off of the incentive to having people create things here in the United States. If you tax them at a ridiculously high rate after, say, $10 or $11 million, per year for a salary, the incentive structure is going to dry up in the United States. And that's one of the things that we have such a big advantage over other countries in terms of just innovation. And yes, it does create extreme inequality, because when you get $1 million, it's very easy to turn $1 million into 1.2 million, and that's an extra 200K, rather than if somebody's on a salary of 70 or 80,000. That's why there is significant wealth inequality. Once you have money, it's very easy to make more money, but it's really hard to get money. And that's just the capitalist system. It is what it is. We've identified that system as significantly better than a system to where nobody can really get rich. And then there's another problem on top of that. That's the government having the ultimate power. And that kind of relates to the whole Elon Musk dynamic, and why I originally said what Musk was doing in buying X was the purest form of good capitalism. Because, yeah, you can say, well, Musk has all this money and there's so many people that are poor, that's bad. But imagine if Musk was not able to have that money and Musk couldn't buy X. And now you've got X. And listen, I'm not saying, oh, we need multiple billionaires, it's so important, but it's just the idea of the left trying to eliminate someone like Musk to where the government or the state, they've got all the power and they've got all the control, because what does money get you? It gets you power. And so Musk, and we're seeing it now. I mean, I've criticized Musk. I've come out and I've said, I think what he's doing with this visa situation is terrible. The way he's handling X, trying to silence people because he got criticized, it's really bad. And I don't want this to devolve into a socialism, capitalism debate here, because with this on Sanders, I do agree with this, but it's just different reasons. People are just uniting, the Sanders segment of the left and then the right. We're uniting against Musk. They think Musk is terrible because he's a billionaire. We think this is bad because of the immigration aspect of it. And we both agree that it is hurting Americans, and we agree that Americans, but it's people on the left do not agree. It just depends. Someone like Sanders will agree that Americans need to come first. There are other liberals that say, no, if you come to America, if we bring you in, you're already immediately an American. An American assimilation doesn't matter. You bring your own culture into the country. We have to adapt to you. Otherwise, we're racist and we're disgusting because we're a melting pot. Yeah, we're a real melting pot. The country was 90% white in 1960. Yeah. Recently, we've become a melting pot. I wonder why that is. But and you can say, well, that's birth rates. Well, what is birth rate? The decrease in birth rates caused by feminism. But this thing with Sanders, I 100% agree with. And listen, this is the common ground. So it's we'll have to see. Listen, we know how this is going to end. They're going to try and reform them a little bit or whatever. But to me, it's a bigger thing with people on the right and immigration in general and bringing people in. And with what Ramaswamy said, it was just so off base. I mean, going after just normal American culture like he did, that got people really angry. And then people just totally missed the point of why people were angry about Ramaswamy. It's just like, oh, you're just butthurt. You're just mad because he called out lazy Americans. And it's like, it was just all so arbitrary. He picks a rank. Oh, in 1990s, the country is still growing at a very nice rate. The GDP is still going up. There are things within the United States education system that are a big problem. I agree, but that's what's going to happen. I mean, everything's not going to be perfect. It is what it is. But it's just, I think a lot of Americans, it rubbed them the wrong way. And you can take a look at this. This is our Canadian. I'm sure this is very, very liberal. I'm sure this subreddit here probably is 95% liberal. And even this lady saying, I'm sick of the environment we've created, talking about, look at this, I absolutely detest the environment we've created. They stand in doorways with groupings of 8 to 15 men. Yeah, there was a viral video going around of a Canadian mall, and it's just mobbed with Indians. And it's like, this is modern day liberalism. I hope you enjoy it. And I think people look, in Canada, you have to say they probably are waking up. Look at what's going to be happening with their upcoming election. The Conservative Party is going to get, 60 to 70% of the seats. And so we'll see Canada undoubtedly is going to get more conservative. Now, how much more conservative? There is an argument. Canadian conservatism versus American conservatism. It's a little bit different, with American being more right than Canadian, but still, it's going to be a lot more of a Canadian first type vibe within the coming years once their election happens. And you have to say they have woken up, at least to a degree. Trudeau he's an embarrassment in that country. He goes around and people film themselves swearing at him just in random public places because they hate him so much in Canada. So, we'll see what happens with Canada. But either way, I just wanted to talk about this thing with Bernie Sanders. That's going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.